Welcome to the Subconscious Elements Podcast, a podcast where we cover all things spirituality. And today we're going to cover the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And I'm going to kick it off to my co-host, Tori Sedler.
So Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is an American independent film written and directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. This movie came out in 2022, and it's a timeless, amazing film that we've watched multiple times, which beautifully captures the chaos and absurdity in a world that tries to pull you in all different directions. On the surface, it seems like a movie about talking rocks, hot dog fingers, and the multiverse, but once you dive a little deeper, we can see themes of existentialism, trauma, family, and nihilism.
Yeah, so the story follows Evelyn Wang, a laundromat owner drowning in taxes, family issues, and unfulfilled dreams. She finds herself suddenly pulled into a multiverse spanning adventure when a version of her husband, Waymond, reveals that there are countless universes that exist and they're all in peril. They're all about to be destroyed by a person named Jobu Tubaki, and she's the one person that can save them. And essentially portrays this concept that she is going to be able to jump between different versions of herself, from a kung fu master to a movie star to a hibachi chef, and use their skills. She has to learn how to jump between these multiverses, tap into their personalities. And it's funny, the way they set it up too is you have to do something that you would never have done before, something completely new and novel, out of this world. Whether what were some of them that they were doing?
Oh, there was one where it was do 5 paper cuts between each finger.
Ooh, that was hard to watch.
And then there was one with the freaking trophy. That was horrible.
Yeah. But so you have to do something that's completely bananas so you can trigger this jump to a different universe and pull the skill from a neighboring universe, which is pretty trippy to think about. But it ties in a bunch of different spiritual concepts, and again, anytime a movie introduces the multiverse, it's going to be super trippy. But
the reason why... So first, Waymond comes into her universe from the Alpha universe. And he's basically the best version that Waymond could be. He's mastered everything in his universe. And he comes to her to tell her that she's the chosen one, and she's never accomplished anything in her life. In fact, she's going through divorce, she's being audited by the IRS, and she's about to lose the only thing that she has, which is her laundromat, and even that she finds herself unfulfilled, and she's unfulfilled with her family. Her father comes into town, and I believe he's sick, and so she just has a lot of things piling up in her life. And he comes to her in this moment of crisis, and he tells her, he's you're the perfect one for the job because you've never accomplished anything. That means you can do anything.
It's you have the most universes next to you with all these accomplished skill sets.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, it's this idea that even though she perceives herself as having nothing accomplished, that in itself is somehow a strength in this movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that just reminds you whenever you are about to do something great, coming to the situation with an empty cup and being open. Whereas sometimes when people come with a pre-skill, they put that on whatever they're doing. So she's more like an empty cup rather than a half full, half empty, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, and one of the issues that she's struggling with in the movie is when she's getting audited by the IRS. like she's trying to write off like a bunch of her hobbies as like jobs. So like she's trying to write off like a karaoke machine, a bunch of cooking tools, like all these things that were her hobbies because she like has these dreams of accomplishing things. She was always switching to like something new, and then she was like trying to get it like written off, and like the IRS, the auditor lady, like makes a comment about it. So it's like you can see like how like her being unfulfilled is like kind of dragging her down. Like she's so focused on trying to escape the reality that she's in, it's actually hurting what she's trying to accomplish with the laundromat.
Yeah, we can see that with a lot of people where they don't follow through with something and they just jump between hobbies or passions, and they don't really give that thing the proper amount of time to develop into something greater. Whereas mastery, you have to take a lot of time and dedication into one thing, and it demands all of your focus. And you can't just scratch the surface and expect to be something amazing. So she doesn't ever follow through with anything, and that leads to her own downfall.
Look, I'm a fancy wine person. Yeah, you know, it's funny, like I only take on a skill if it like complements my other skills. Like it's hard for me to do something that like completely detracts away from everything else I'm doing. Like it has to have some type of synergistic effect on my life so that everything is enhanced. So whether it's like, you know, running, lifting weights, jujitsu, bow and arrow, like all these things tend to help each other in some form or facet. And that's the only way I'll be willing to like take something new on, is if it like meshes with my lifestyle. I have a hard time like just jumping to something completely different or weird.
Yeah, and that's only after you establish a habit with one thing. Like you've established habits with multiple things, so therefore you're capable of handling more things. And so you're not abandoning one thing, you're simply adding to the value of everything.
Yeah. And you know, it's like when you add skill sets or try to learn new skill sets, you really have to really think about the risks and what comes with those things, because you can kind of see that in this movie, right? Like she can't just do all these things because it's taking away from the things that she cares about and loves, which is her family, right? Her wanting to do all these things and become successful in this, like taking her away from her family. And you know, the same thing can happen to us. I find that like the same thing has kind of happened to me when I think about like doing comedy. It's like I really want to do it, at least try it, you know. But when I really think about it, it just doesn't mesh well with my lifestyle. And it can, for sure, in a sense that like, you know, I do podcasts, I'm really good at creating content. I already have a fit lifestyle, so I feel like I could dabble in it. But at the same time, and I'm also like really good on the mic. Like I'm really good at talking in front of people, whereas most people get nervous. Like it kind of comes more natural to me just because I've spent so much time doing it. But the risk with that is hanging out late at night, which is like completely against like the things that I do. I'm always having to wake up early and work all day, like with an active lifestyle. So it's like, and everyone will tell you, is like if you start doing comedy, you're out late, you're around alcohol, you're around smoking, like all these things. And it's also like the main times to do open mics are all the same times that you would train jiu-jitsu, like night classes or teach. So now that I teach, it's like I can't really just like not train or just train during the day. It's like I'm expected to teach. So yeah, it's funny. It's like you can't really just pick up any skill set. You really, especially once you already have like you're established in your ways, it's like you have to be very careful about what you choose to do with your life because you already have like such limited time.
Yeah. And if you were to take something like that on, you would inevitably have to take time away from other things. And it's like, Are you willing to sacrifice?
Exactly. And
then if you don't even know what that means, you can do that prematurely without understanding like what it's going to mean for your life. And then you're like, wow, this is not what I wanted at all. It's like, yeah, it plays out differently than the way you think it will.
Right. And then it can end up just being a waste of time. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, because I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I'm like all in. I can't just like half-ass do it. I got to like commit. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, maybe in another lifetime, I'll practice some comedy.
Yeah, you know, you've already made it so far with martial arts. It's like in the beginning when you are first a martial artist, you don't make money for forever. And it's the same thing with comedians. Like they have to go through a long period of time when they're just barely making it. And so that would just be like starting over basically. Mm-hmm. You'd have to go through like a phase where you're just solely dedicated.
Yep, so back to the movie. Yeah, one of the things that it really portrayed, like right in the beginning, like in the first couple minutes of the movie, it kind of shows you this moment where, like, you can see all the things that she's struggling with. So she's got the laundromat, and they're preparing for that. They got her dad who is sick, and I guess he's coming over. I guess he wasn't there, so he's coming
visiting.
over. And she's like in a stress, trying to clean everything up and trying to get ready for a party. Cook for her dad, and then her kid comes over who's older. She's a teenager, maybe in her 20s or something like that.
I think she's over 18 probably.
And her teenager is a lesbian, and like that's like weighing on the parents' minds, and then trying to get it tell their grandpa about it. So like it's kind of showing how all these things are accumulating, and obviously like Waymond is trying to get her attention as well, her husband, but she's like so stressed out, like she's like got all these receipts all over the place because they're being audited, and then she's also simultaneously cooking, simultaneously prepping for this party while her kids also are asking her questions,
and she's preparing the divorce.
Well, she isn't, but that's what Waymond is gonna give her the divorce papers, but he hasn't yet.
Oh, okay.
And he's thinking about it. But he like gets to her in a moment where he's like, remember why we're here. Like, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. And she has like a moment of peace where she's like, that's right. Everything okay. Everything will be okay. And it's like a moment of where like she's finally like calm. And then immediately like, I think there's a ring at the door. Yeah. Pretty sure her grandpa shows up. Right, or her dad. And then it just like all of a sudden like the chaos of everyday life is just like pulls her right back out of it, and she goes right back to doing all these different chores and yelling at Waymond. She's like very short-tempered with her husband, right, because he's like very more relaxed about things and more he's got a positive attitude about it, and that kind of like grinds her gears. And she sort of feels like the predicament that she's in, the way that she feels, is his fault, because she originally came to America to be with him. Like, it was his idea, and he was like, I love you, I want you to come to America with me. And it was against her father's wishes. Her father was like, we will disown you if you follow this man to America. Like, he's not worthy of you. And so she, like, low-key has resentment for him in this movie. And so she's, like, always, like, getting on to him and yelling at him about stuff because she feels like she's, like, doing most of the work for the laundromat. And he's always like putting googly eyes on everything, like trying to keep things comical. And she like despises that. And she's like, no more googly eyes, and like throws them at him. And so, you can just feel like the tension building up. And then it's like, she has a moment where she remembers why she's doing everything. And then it's just like, boom, reality hits her. And I feel like we have that a lot. Like, we'll go out in nature and it's like everything just slows down. You remember why you're doing things. And like, it's a reminder why these things are so important. Like, why you need to take a break away. Because, man, when life is just going, you can kind of get lost as to why you're even doing things and what your reason behind it is for, and why you're here. Especially when it's just like, work, hustle, sleep, barely getting sleep, just working and hustling. And just like life demands more and more of you, it just like kind of takes your life energy, and you're having a chance to like reset and remember your why can be really important.
Yeah, for sure. Realigning with the purpose, and understanding that you have the power to respond rather than react to life, like creating space and calmness in your own mind, peace in your own mind, like Wayman pretty much mastered, regardless of the situation. The most stressful time in their lives, he was still able to find happiness and joy, and he was dancing with one of the customers and just having a good old time, like laughing, and that's the mastery of the mind and the importance of understanding that you have the power to do that for yourself.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is stress other than just a made up emotion from your brain? You know, it's like, unless you're dying, and, you know, even the most enlightened people will say that's still the same thing, but unless you're like experiencing something life-threatening, there's nothing really worth getting worked up about. And yeah, you can see that in Wayman. He's like always relaxing, or he's like just got a calm attitude about it. But it's funny because that even sets her off even more. Like, it makes her mad that he's so calm and having fun while, you know, they're being audited, and they got to plan this party, and then the dad.
Yeah, and that's one of the faults of the mind, is that when you decide to be in that state, inevitably you're going to pull more of those vibrations towards you. And so she's perpetuating the very thing that is taking her time and happiness away by continually thinking and acting, responding. And yeah, just by changing your mindset, you can create positive things. Just imagine if she were to go with his energy and be happy with him, how different their reality would be.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that it ends up showing in the end of the movie, where, you know, she always daydreams about, you know, what if she would have chased her dreams? And when she starts to jump between these multiverses and experience herself in different lifetimes, a lot of them she ended up not getting with Wayman. And so then she's like, oh, if only I had, like, one of them, she's like a famous movie star. She's like a master martial artist, and then she's kind of like a Jackie Chan in that reality, where she's like an ultra movie star and got crazy martial arts skills. But she doesn't end up with Wayman. And so, and a lot of those realities have that kind of theme where she ends up not getting with him, and then she learned like some crazy skill set. And then, so that kind of almost confirms her belief that she should have never been with Wayman to begin with. But then it like turns around, and then as she experiences more of it, like in those realities, she's super lonely and wants to be with someone, and ends up meeting Wayman and, like, you know, a different version of him, but they somehow still meet, and they like, they still want to be together. And, you know, she's like, well, first she tells him off, right? Like the fancy martial arts famous movie star, like, tells him off, like, see what all I've accomplished without you. And he's like, well, I still would have loved to run a laundromat with you in America. And then, like, walks away. And yeah, it's just like, you know, what are all these things if you don't have anyone to share it with? And it's like, he was saying that sharing something small would have been better than having it all without her. And she ends up experiencing that. And the kind of whole movie just kind of comes back to, like, appreciating what it is that you have. And it's like, if you don't appreciate what you have and you're always searching for something else, then you're going to miss the whole point of why you're where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see what I was going to
Wine
say.
made you forget.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a quite crazy weenie universe. They had weenies for fingers. I'll pull it up, actually. It's funny, we went and saw this movie with our coach. the first time we saw it. And he said the weenie fingers are creeping him out. He's like, I don't like it.
Just that scene just made him hate the movie.
Yeah, it was something about when they traveled back in the past or something. And I guess they like left a hot dog. I can't remember. They did something and it like changed. It's what made the hot dog people.
Oh yeah, so she was trying to verse jump and she jumped prematurely because she was like perceiving that she was about to die in that reality, so she was just desperate. And he's like, the alpha Raymond was on the headphones and he was like, no, it's not ready, that's not the right one, and it like zooms into a hot dog.
Yeah.
And then she basically verse jumps into that reality, and then her enemy in the current reality is her lover in the hot dog reality. And so at first she's like super put off by her because she still has the memory of the other reality. And she's like keeps pushing her away, and then the lover doesn't understand. Or she's like the IRS auditor in the one reality, and she's like gets super sad, and she doesn't understand why, and then she shows her crying and playing like sad piano music.
But with her feet, because they have like these crazy hot dogs for fingers. They do everything with their feet. They like have moments where she's like crying. She uses her foot to wipe the tear, and then play the piano with her toes. It's hilarious. It's like kind of off-putting when you're like, what's happening? But then, when you think back on it, then you realize how funny it is. Like the more we watch it, the more it makes us laugh. But when we first saw it, I just remember being like, what the is happening?
Yeah, and then there's the reality where they're rocks. It's Michelle Yeoh and her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis. They're both rocks, and it's just like written dialogue.
Jamie Lee Curtis is the
I thought that was the daughter.
auditor. No.
Oh, okay. Who's the daughter?
Well, her name's Jobu Tubaki. That's who it is. But I don't know the Joy. Joy is the name.
Joy.
I don't know the actor, but
Oh, okay. Actress.
her name's Joy. But so we'll tell you real quick. Her daughter is the protagonist, the evil person.
The antagonist.
Is it the antagonist? Right, my bad. It's the antagonist of the entire movie. She's the multiversal threat that's trying to destroy all the universes, and she blames her mom for it, which is kind of funny. But they end up both teleporting to a rock universe, and they're both rocks.
That just reminds me of like all the memes that are going around on the internet where it's like me and you in a different universe, and it's like two birds or something. It's like in this one they're rocks with googly eyes.
Yeah.
And then Joy, the daughter, she still throws herself off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Wayman's philosophy is just to be kind. He's like, especially when you don't know what's going on. And that's so true, because this reality has endless possibilities, and literally anything can be true. And believing one side of anything is just to hinder yourself from the truth of reality. That everything matters and nothing matters simultaneously.
Well, so, yeah, and like to show this, Wayman, Evelyn has like a complete meltdown at the party, and the auditor shows up and tries to take away the laundromat. She's like, this is it, we're taking everything. And Evelyn just accepts defeat. She's like, fine, so be it. But Wayman is able to talk to her and get her to give them another chance. And Evelyn is like, has her mind blown by this. She's like, how did you do that? How did you give us another chance? And he's like, I just told her what's going on. He's just very relaxed. And it's kind of going what you're saying, right? Like when you're kind to people, like it opens up opportunities that in her mind she didn't even see, because she was just so combative from the very beginning. Blaming the IRS and the auditor instead of like taking responsibility and just trying to accept, because it's like she blames them for what's going on. She's like, oh, how dare they, they want to audit the business of a small business of an immigrant, of course they're just targeting us. And that's the attitude that she takes with it. But at the same time, she's like trying to write off like all this extra stuff that definitely shouldn't be written off. And the auditor's trying to work with them, but in her mind, she's just like not having it because she's still upset.
Yeah, it's like the victim mindset.
Right, right.
Yep. We see that a lot. I work in customer service, so I see that a lot where people are just like super rude about something and they refuse to understand that it's not fully anyone's fault, and that like showing humility in a situation can change the outcome drastically.
Yeah, one of the skills that I really admire is when you meet someone like super artificially, like just casually you meet them and you walk away from that meeting just being like, man, that dude is super nice. Like without even really meeting them. Like you just had a conversation with them and you can tell that they're a super nice person. Like that level of kindness where just even in small interactions, someone can tell you're super genuine and a kind person. It's like, you know, people tell me I'm nice, but I can definitely tell that there's another level to it where just by even small interactions, you come off as like a super kind person. And I don't know, it's like, I don't know how they do that, but it's definitely something I appreciate and respect when I see it in other people.
Yeah, and that's one thing that Evelyn gets annoyed by in Wayman, because she thinks that he's not taking things seriously, and he's kind of like a dope and like, or like just less intelligent. But true wisdom lies in being cheerful and being able to see beyond the circumstance and align with who you want to be in that one instance. Right?
And he takes the auditing super serious. Like he's the one that's trying his best to get the information from the auditor and stuff like that. So it's like he's serious when he needs to be, but when it, you know, it's not at hand, he's very aloof in a good way, just like
playful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The power of kindness. And then another thing that is being portrayed in the movie too is like generational trauma and like how it's passed down from one to the other, from one generation to the next. And so it shows how the grandfather, Evelyn's dad, Joy's grandfather, never wanted her to leave. And like that's like a memory that she's constantly haunted by, is like, oh, I will disown you if you leave for America with this fool. And yeah, when he's there, he's just kind of like meh about everything, like not impressed and kind of like grumpy. And she's trying her hardest to like impress him and get his approval. And that is like the same way that she handles interactions with her daughter, where like her daughter is trying to make a connection with her and let her know that she loves her significant other and that she wants to be accepted, or regardless of whether she's accepted or not, she wants to let her grandfather know who she is. And her mom's trying to hide it from the grandfather because she perceives it being shame, and she can't like take any more of it. And so yeah, it's like that like only pushes them further away.
Yeah, for sure. The acceptance of who they are and acceptance of the situation too, where people have this concept in their mind that they have, or standard that they have to be held by, and it's responding in the present moment rather than holding yourself to something that's not even real. It's just something that you make up in your mind. And yeah, like you said, holding on to past, like if she weren't to be thinking about those things, she would be able to respond in the present moment. But because she's thinking about the past, she's not present in the moment. So she's holding on to negative emotions and then bringing them into the present moment. Whereas you can heal these things within yourself and then be free to respond in the moment. Like proportionately or appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it really doesn't matter. I mean, she's not dating any of her family members, so it doesn't really have anything to do with them. She's living a separate life. She's a grown adult, so whatever they think about it is their own problems. As long as she's happy, she's healthy, she's not doing anything to sabotage anyone around her, then they should just be happy.
And the same thing with Evelyn, right? Like, she's always worried about if her father was originally right to not go. Like, that, like, weighs on her mind. Instead of just appreciating, like, what they have together. And then, so, like, another theme that's portrayed throughout the movie is, like, non-attachment and surrender, where, like, Evelyn tries to control everything. Like, micromanage everything. Everything has to be done her way. And you can see her, like, snapping at her daughter, snapping at her husband, because like a customer comes in and she needs her laundry and it's not where she expects it to be, and it's up. He's like, oh, there was no space, I thought it'd be easier to put it over here, and she like snaps, and then there's googly eyes on it, so it makes her even more mad. But yeah, she her trying to control everything, like, that's kind of what leads to her suffering, instead of just, like, again, experiencing, you know, surrender and non-attachment to, like, how things are done. And it's not that, you know, you're not supposed to care about things. You can care about them, but yeah, if you try to micromanage everything, it's honestly just going to drive you crazy. And most often, like, people think that by having more control, it's easier on their mind, but it's really not. It honestly just makes everything harder for everyone involved. And we would see this a lot at the restaurant, where, like, managers be like, no, you need to ask me before you do that. And it's like, dude, you can't even handle your job as it is. Why are you saying that we need to ask you for more shit? Like, dude, I don't need to ask you for this, and you don't have the mental space to give me an answer when I need it. So stop trying to control everything. Like, that's like the number one thing when managers is like, oh, you got to ask for that. Oh, you need to ask about that. Oh, yeah, don't do that unless you guys ask me first. And it's like, and then the second that they are busy, they're like too flustered to ever answer. And it's like, how it's so funny. It's like, how can you not foresee this behavior? It's like, it's not your first rodeo being a manager and you still make these dumb decisions. It's like, dude, everything should be streamlined. And that's one thing I learned in the Marine Corps, is like, you try to give power to the people, to the, you know, we call them NCOs or the Marines, and it's because you want to train someone good enough so that they can make the correct decision on their own. If you have to micromanage every decision, then it's only going to crumble.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it takes too much of your energy, like, and just trusting the other people around you will empower them to do better. Whereas whenever they see what you're telling them as not even a possibility, then they're just going to be doing things without your approval because they can't possibly get your approval. And so then it's like the fact that you're not trusting them makes them less trustworthy. So it's like, just trust them until they fail you. And then if they fail you, then reprimand them. And to the degree that they fail you, because there's failure in different aspects. It's like, you could fail someone and not know you're failing them, or you can fail someone purposefully to, like, degrade whatever you're doing, or to go against them, or to defy them. Yeah, purposefully. So there's like, you're trying and you make a mistake, or there's like, you're defying them on purpose. So there's like different in between.
Yeah, one thing that the Marines would encourage is good initiative, bad judgment kind of thing, where it would be like, they would rather you take the initiative and do something, and even though it might not have been the right thing, it's still better than not have doing anything at all. And they would just say, good initiative, bad judgment, but that's all right. Like, it's okay. You know, at least you're trying to do something, but here's the correct way. But it was always better than not doing anything. And then another thing we learned too is, like, a bad decision made quickly is better than a good decision thought about too long. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's how they train you to make decisions. Like, go. You have to be, like, one of the main traits is decisiveness. Like, you have to be able to make a decision, and because you're never going to have all the information. So it's like, make the best possible decision with the information that you have and go.
Learn on the way.
Learn along the way.
Yeah,
100%.
just try to do your best. And then that attitude will inevitably lead you to success.
Yeah, and so that's just a big thing in spirituality, about non-attachment and surrender. It's like, because that's the main reason people suffer, is their attachment to things like that. I'm pretty sure that's like the number one thing in spirituality that they'll teach you, is that you suffer because of attachments to things. And then not surrendering to what is.
Mm-hmm.
And so another thing we can talk about is like presence over potential. And it was just like kind of showing like there's all these infinite possibilities that she could have accomplished. And that's what she was so focused on, but it took away from her being present in the moment in her own life. And of course she like wasn't appreciative of what she had, which is a family, a business.
Yeah, and just by appreciating her life, she could have made it even better. That frustrates me so much when I see people that like have potential and they have the ability to change their lives, and then they just I don't know if it's on purpose or not, it's probably not on purpose, but they just choose to stay in like a negative mindset, which perpetuates them to staying in a bad situation. And it's like no one on the outside can help you. Literally no one. If you're in that state of mind, no one can really pull you out other than the decision that you make for yourself. So it's like painful for other people to witness it.
Yeah, back to thinking about non-attachment and surrender. The shows where she has to surrender, like the idea that she can't make everything right with her daughter. She tries to like make everything better, but like her daughter's not in a position to just be okay with everything. She's like, I just want to leave. And she has like this realization that like she has to let it go. She can't just like force things to be better now just because she's figured out her own life or whatever.
Yeah, with her daughter, didn't like they say that the reason why she was that way is because in one reality she was forced to see like everything?
Yep.
It was like a science thing or something?
Yeah, and I guess the original reality where they started to learn how to verse jump,
They used her.
Evelyn pushed her too far to try and be like the best, and her mind got so shattered from jumping. So there's like a price to doing all these jumps that splits your mind, because now you're trying to focus on these different realities. Like you're getting different, you essentially can see from that personality as well, and like most people's brains couldn't handle it. And so she does it so much that she has like a full on, like, I don't want to say psychotic break, but something along those lines, where she just like can't handle it anymore and becomes like ultimate evil.
Yeah, that reminds me of like the contemporary age where nowadays people are growing up integrated into the internet, and it's becoming more and more of a thing within the generations, where they're like in schools, basically from birth, people are just influencing their children with TVs and devices, and so we don't really even understand what impact that will make on the future generations, because we haven't experienced it long enough for us to see what happens. And so in a sense, it's almost the same thing, where they have to separate their mind from something. Because for us, the internet is something separate. Like we go to the internet to find information, or we use it as a tool, but whenever you're introduced to it at such a young age, who knows what that can really do. And there's so many different apps and so many different games. It's like you can spend millions of lifetimes just exploring all the things online. It's like millions of hours of things. You can literally get lost in it. And if you don't have like a good influence to kind of direct you and to help you separate these things from your reality, then you can get lost in it. So
yeah, I remember when it felt like there wasn't enough on there.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
All you had was Wikipedia or something. And dial-up, we had dial-up and the freaking cord phones. DVD players.
Yeah, the thing about like potential, I think it's like a couple of things, right? Like, one, I think it's being unable to realize what you have. So it's like you're not grateful for what you have, right? So you're like disassociating because you feel like you deserve more or you want more and you don't have it. Or you're trying to escape some type of suffering, some type of emotion. And then on top of that, it's, there's this idea that I feel like I've been experiencing a lot more recently where it's like, a lot of people think that the purpose of life is to be happy, but it's like, one, you can't define happiness. Like, what even is that? And then two, it's like, if you want to be happy, you need to live a life for someone else, not for yourself. And so I think a lot of people tend to think that they're here for themselves. And so it makes it easier to fall into these ways of where we spend more time disassociating with our life than trying to accomplish things. Because another thing that's ended up portrayed in this movie is being okay and appreciative with the everyday tasks of life. Whether it's getting through the audit or doing what you need to do for the laundromat or dishes or working out. Like, none of these things in itself are fun. But it's like they're essential to live the life that you're in. And it's very easy to not want to do them or to like dread them, but if you can, it's like a Zen practice, the only way to get far in life is to be a master of the fundamentals, and these things are fundamental to our life, and it's like, yeah, you have to be grateful that you get to do them. And if you can be grateful for what you have, it's a lot easier to get where you're going or where it is that you want to be. Especially if you lead with the idea that you want to live your life for someone else and not for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's like the it's one of the underlying tones of this movie.
Yeah, being of service to the self allows you to be of service of others. Like, if you don't have your life and your health down as a foundation, then you're going to be incapable of helping anyone around you. So the very fact that you're able to appreciate things and able to take care of yourself, that opens you up to the possibility of becoming something greater for the community, or just being a positive influence for anyone that you interact with, even if you don't directly have a family or someone that you consistently see. Just anytime you associate with anyone, just being positive. And a lot of people see that as selfish. Like, I see it a lot on social media because now we are parents, and so there's a lot of fitness people that post their stories about pregnancy and stuff. And so they're showing themselves in a super healthy state where they're like working out, they're making food, they're being a parent. And then there's a lot of hate towards them in the comments where people are saying like, oh, that's selfish or something along those lines. And it's like, it's really not. They're being the best version of themselves so they can prolong their lives to be a great influence in their family. If you really think about it, it's like, oh, this is wrong, or you shouldn't be doing this. And even like the healthcare providers, they'll tell you one thing and then someone will just decide that that has to be true. And I understand it as there's risk to everything, but it's not like a one size fits all. And so they can give you a suggestion and you can listen to it and you can understand it and you can learn more about what they're telling you. But as far as your body, you listen to your body and you do what's appropriate for you. You don't take a diagnosis and essentially die by the diagnosis.
So whey protein for the baby?
Yeah, a lot of people, they just like accept whatever someone tells them. Mm-hmm. And words are very powerful, and what people tell you can really affect the trajectory of your life. And so there's like a fine line that you can figure out exactly what is true.
Yeah.
It's like, I hear that, but that doesn't feel right. And then you can decide for yourself what is right.
Yeah, you definitely have to come to your own decision, and I don't want to sound too tacky, but do your own research. But it's like, you can't, other people can't make all the decisions for you. They're doing their best to help you, and you have to do your best to help yourself. So you gotta be helping yourself before you just listen to doctors. Because it's like, if you're not helping yourself and you just listen to doctors, you're gonna end up being on 20 pills. Like a doctor's not gonna tell you to be eating right and exercise. It's like they'll just give you, medicine for your blood pressure and your cholesterol and, this and that. And it's like,
they treat the symptoms.
Yeah, it's like you could easily fix your blood pressure and your cholesterol by eating better. One of my buddies just told me that. He was like, he's like, instead of getting on pills, he's like, I just decided I need to fix my diet. And it's like, yeah. And then if you have a healthy diet and you're exercising and your blood pressure or cholesterol is still too high, then it might be smart to consider what they're saying. But to just be like, oh, I'm not going to take any responsibility for my lifestyle and just take these pills. Like, that's almost certainly like the path to where you're just going to have to take more and more. Because no way medicine is going to help you off balance like a bad diet in that sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, the only thing that was coming up to me earlier that I forgot to mention, but like, I think you brought up something about like, just this idea like wherein everything is possible. It can very much seem like, you mentioned it, it was like everything matters and also nothing matters. And there's this profound there's this profound understanding that comes when you realize that nothing matters. You realize that you give life meaning. Nothing matters, so it's up to you to decide what matters. And you give life meaning. So it's like life is your canvas. You can literally make whatever you feel like important or amazing, right? It's like, it's not predetermined for you. And, that can be scary if you don't come to that realization. It's like, oh, well, nothing matters. And it seemed like that's what Jobu Tabaki was, her daughter was struggling with. It's like, oh, none of this matters. And it's like, you're right, none of it does matter, but it matters to me. Or, we can choose to give it meaning and cherish the moments.
Yeah, the mother and daughter had like a heartfelt scene where they were saying, we're only here for like a speck of time. And she was saying, well, I'd rather spend the speck of time with you. And that reminds me of like that scene from Horton Hears a Who, where he's like, I have the speck. And he's holding up like the little dandelion. And it's like, yeah, to him, in his reality, it's literally just a dandelion. But then once they zoom into the dandelion, it's like a whole reality. And so like something that can be seen as so unimportant to Horton is like the most profound thing to everyone else that's living in that reality.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, this is a super awesome movie. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up? Yeah, if you've never seen like a crazy movie like this, you might be like thrown off when you're first watching it. You might be like, what the? But if you can get over the craziness, there's definitely a lot of profound meanings. And
It's won a ton of awards.
yeah. It's definitely an awesome movie. Like, I can't say enough good things about it. And it's so funny. We like just, it was like random, right? Or like, wasn't it Vic's idea to watch it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vic decided he wanted to go see it. And I don't even know because we don't never go to the movies with him.
Yeah. And
I don't even know why.
yeah, we stumbled upon this movie randomly, and it was like, I think we've seen it 3 times. It's that good. Like I said, definitely some weird moments, but if you can not, it's like one of those movies that's like super serious, but don't take it too serious kind of thing. And there's definitely appreciation for that. But anyways, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank y'all so much. If there's any movies y'all want us to cover, let us know. Send us a DM. Mention it in the comments. Let us know what you thought about this movie. Is there anything that you thought was cool that we didn't cover? Anything that we did cover that you want to add on to? Or anything that relates to your life, please let us know. Y'all are the reason why we do this. Appreciate you guys.